Welcome to the video, my boys. Today, we're going to be ranking every single Call of Duty game from worst to best. Let's get into this video. Are you guys excited? I'm excited. This is Black Folk and Cracker Factor, and the grounds we're going on is the game overall and the actions in which the game was presented. Not just how fun it is or whatever, but also the way that the company was like about it in that game. Like if there's stupid supply drops, that's going to make it go down a lot further. And just if there's bad decisions, then yeah, it's going to be further down. And we're also taking into account the modes, obviously, how good they are, how fun they are, and just how well made the game is. Later we'll do most fun, ranked from worst to best, but this is purely like the game itself in a vacuum, ranked from worst to best. So let's get into it. The very worst Call of Duty is without a doubt, you all saw it coming, Call of Duty Vanguard, made by Sledgehammer. This game had some interesting design choices. First of all, they made two World War II games in a row, and no one else was making World War II games. The last one before the ones that Sledgehammer made was World at War, and that was in 2008. This is 2021. We did not need this. Plus, the game did not work. The campaign had so many historical inaccuracies, and it was not fun, and it was just the weirdest, strangest mashup ever. The multiplayer was okay, but that's all I can say. Every Call of Duty multiplayer is good in its own right, but this one was kind of just bottom of the barrel. And the zombies was undoubtedly the worst ever. This is what mainly made this the worst game, was the zombies was so unbearable. Now, the Archon, like the last map, was good, but no one stuck around long enough with this game to play it, so yeah, it's at the bottom of the barrel for a reason. So many supply drops, not supply drops, so many microtransactions with the bundles. They were kind of cool, but yeah, they also added laser guns, so it's a World War II game. Chill out. Next up, we got Black Ops 4. Let me explain. First off, there's no campaign. There was a campaign planned, but it never came. Zombie Chronicles 2 was planned, it was in the files, never came. This was the game of disappointments. Plus, the zombies were way too complicated, and it was not good. And almost every map was a remake that was worse than the original map. I don't think there was a single map that was better than the original, which is kind of sad. Like, your whole thing is you have remakes, but they're worse than the original. What's even the point? We all know how bad this game is. If people start to defend it, no, it's trash. The characters are stupid because they're not even like a part of a story. How can a game have an identity if it doesn't even have a campaign? It doesn't have an identity. This game makes me mad in every way. This is the worst Treyarch game, and yeah, it's at the bottom of the barrel for a reason. Coming up third to the bottom, it's Modern Warfare 2022. Modern Warfare 2 2022. That's a lot of twos. That's four twos. And it's the second Modern Warfare 2. So I guess five. But yeah, this game was. Ugh. The campaign was actually good, which is its only good part. But it was worse in every way from the original Modern Warfare 2. It had nothing from the original Modern Warfare 2. Like, there was nothing even remotely similar at all. There was none of the same maps, like, at all. I think they had, like, Terminal? Did they have Terminal? I don't think so, but they had Shipment, which is a COD 4 map. Their maps were trash. Everything about this was weird. Everything was way too serious. And it has worse graphics than Modern Warfare 2019. How do you spend 3 years making a game to have it have worse graphics than your last game? And this was on new gen. 2019 was on last gen. How did they do this? I don't understand. And Spec Ops didn't exist. They had like DMZ or whatever, and it's okay, but it's not even like the same game. And this is the reason that Call of Duty is changing its setup from now on. And this is the reason that Modern Warfare 3 is coming out, is to fix this mess of a game that is filled with microtransactions, and it is just disgusting in every way. Nothing fun about it, and they did not listen to their community. Coming down into the number 13 spot, we got Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Now, I personally do think this is the worst EXO game, as it was so janked and weird, and the multiplayer was full of 9-year-olds, and The game was the system of advanced movement was perfected with later games. Well, not perfect. I guess you can't really perfect something that's not that great to begin with, but they did, I guess. And the campaign was pretty bad. It was so weird. This is Sledgehammer's first game. The UI is gross and boring, and like the menus and stuff, they're all disgusting and just like plain white. It's like, bro, why? And the zombies was kind of filler, and it was DLC that you had to pay for. And this is the game that added supply drops. So yeah, and skill-based matchmaking. This game was awful. It deserves number 13. Well, actually, it wasn't awful. Every COD game is good. I'd rate it still like a 65 out of 100. And every single COD game is at least above a 50. Coming down into number 12, we got Infinite Warfare, which is what you're seeing right now. Now, I think I am kind of part of the group that thinks this game is overrated. In multiplayer, I sometimes prefer this to Black Ops 3. Please don't kill me. It actually might be better. No one gave it a chance, but it does have flaws. The campaign was supposed. People say it's good, but it's just all right. Like the characters aren't that memorable. I don't even remember any of them. The zombies, there was zombies in Display End, which is good, and then all the DLC got progressively worse with each one until it just got trash and gave us like the worst iteration of zombies ever. So yeah, and this still had tons of microtransactions. Not as much as Black Ops 3, but it's still a lot, and I cannot respect it for that. Next up on number 11, this is where we turn into actually like S tier games. I'm not gonna lie. Past this, every COD game is an S tier, but they're not actually perfect. They're just top like 1% of games, to be honest. We got the last Sledgehammer game, Call of Duty World War II. This game did everything perfectly mid, which is why it's not that amazing. It's a World War II game. It's got held back, and whatever they're called, like the thing they replaced Perks with, the divisions, they were interesting, but I don't think it was better than Perks. So, yeah, the zombies was pretty good. It was definitely the best non-Treyarch, except maybe Infinite Warfare, and campaign was okay, but it's World War II. We know the plot of World War II. Multiplayer was pretty fun. Yeah, I think it deserves number 11. Coming down into number 10, we got Black Ops 3. Black Ops 3 has the worst microtransactions out of any game ever. And the amount of people that will just camp in corners in an extra movement game, it makes me want to just not exist anymore. This game had way too many microtransactions. It did have the best zombies ever, except maybe Black Ops 2 or 1. It's debatable, but and the multiplayer is pretty fun. But another thing that makes this number 10, it has the worst campaign. No doubt about it. Vanguard's is like the best campaign ever compared to this trash. It doesn't even make sense. I played it twice, and I still don't even understand any of the characters or what happened in it. So, yeah, and it doesn't even have anything to do with Black Ops, so I don't know why it's a Black Ops game, to be frank. And the microtransactions really held this game back. Coming down at number 9, we got the most overhated or underrated, however you want to say it, game in the Call of Duty franchise. It's Ghosts. Ghosts did a lot of things right. It innovated so much with this perk system, which never came back for some reason. And it didn't have anything that was bad. No skill-based matchmaking. Advanced Warfare is what added it. It added sliding. I mean, that's iconic in its own right. Sliding is an amazing feature. It was the most tactful, fastest TTK, best hit detection game. If you're a pro sweat, this is the game for you, Call of Duty Ghosts. And the graphics were actually very ahead of their time. And the campaign was actually goated. I love this campaign. It's a top 3 campaign of all time. Maybe not top 3, top 5. But Extinction was also pretty fun, side mode and safeguard. This game actually had four game modes, with safeguard being one of them. And I think it's a very solid Call of Duty game, and it definitely deserves number 9. Next up, we got Modern Warfare 3. This game, a lot of people say it's a DLC for Modern Warfare 2, but that's not really that much of a bad thing. There's not that much to say about this. Campaign wrapped up nicely. Strangling Makarov to death was extremely satisfying. Multiplayer was alright. Graphics were trash. Their color palette made you want to die. And the survivalist was very fun. Coming down into the number 7 spot, we got Black Ops Cold War. This game had a 9-month development cycle. Treyarch took over Sledgehammer's absolute pile of shit that they were making, and then they turned it into a Black Ops game, and it ended up being pretty fantastic. It has a great campaign, a great zombies. The zombies brought back the entire community after the disgustingness that was Black Ops 4, and the multiplayer was actually pretty solid. It had worse graphics than 2019, which I see a trend here. Vanguard might have had better, but it's kind of sad. But it was fun. They got rid of a lot of the stuff people didn't like about 2019. Like mantling and tax sprinting and stuff like that. It was a very fun arcadey experience. It embraced the 80s so well, and that's what I love it for. Coming down to number 6, the lack of side game modes really held this game back. It's Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. This game effectively started Call of Duty as a franchise. It is fantastic campaign, fantastic multiplayer. It's a bit dated, to be frank, but it's still fun to play today. I don't know if you'll find a match. COD 4 Remaster is probably the way to go, even though there's microtransactions in that. So I guess Call of Duty 4, the original, is still the goated. But the graphics is really what held this game back. It's really weird this was in the same console as Ghosts. How? Frankly, how? But this game, everyone knows it. It added creative class, it added perks, it added everything. This was the game to play. Coming down at number 5. Let me explain myself before you kill me. Modern Warfare 2019 at number 5. I know you might kill me, but this game got rid of supply drops. It got rid of super heavy skill based matchmaking. It made it a little bit better, and it got rid of stupid stuff that we don't like, and it added crossplay, which is an amazing feature. It literally saved the Call of Duty franchise after two flops, Infinite Warfare and Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4 back to back. This brought back the fan base, the best selling Call of Duty of all time. How could it not be this high on the list? Group best graphics we've seen to date, and it's like 4 years old now, which is crazy. And the campaign was amazing. This is probably like my second favorite campaign of all time. It is goated. Spec Ops kind of sucked, but that didn't really matter because multiplayer and campaign were just that good. Some of the maps were terrible, but it gave us Hackney Yard, which is a timeless classic, and it brought back a bunch of maps that everyone loves from the original COD 4. And this was just the shit. Okay, coming down into number 4, we got Call of Duty 4, but with zombies, otherwise known as World at War. This was fantastic. Graphics are terrible, but that's what makes it amazing. It has one of the most iconic campaigns of all time, with Reznov being added. I don't really know what characters you play if I forgot what they were called, but Reznov was obviously the star of the show. You could play with 2 people, which hasn't been seen since Black Ops 3's campaign. We won't mention that, though. That doesn't count as a campaign. And the zombies, obviously, it started zombies. Whoever came up with the idea to just, like, randomly have this idea that Treyarch didn't even want them to do, and Activision got mad at them for it, but it eventually became probably the best decision in gaming history, except for, like, the creation of the NES. But this game was amazing. And the MP40, PPSH. Number 3, I got Modern Warfare 2. This game had a very lackluster DLC cycle, which is understandable because there's a bunch of stuff going on with Activision and Infinity Ward. But it has craziest multiplayer we've ever seen. Great campaign. Spec Ops was fantastic. A response to zombies that was actually fairly good in its own right, which was pretty impressive. It's nothing compared to zombies, obviously, but it is still very fun. Multiplayer, like I said, one of the best ever. This game is where it's at. The intervention. Oh man. Oh man. Number 2. Whatever game this is, you're gonna know what's at number 1. It's Black Ops 1. This game did everything right. It did everything amazing, actually. This is probably my second favorite game of all time. And obviously, number 1 is going to be my favorite game of all time. Black Ops 1 campaign, second best to the one that's next. Multiplayer, second best to the one that's next. Zombies was also fantastic. I loved it so much. This game, it did everything right. Coming down into number 1. You knew it was coming. Black Ops 2. This game. Oh. Campaign. Multiple branching endings. Not like Cold War where there's 2 endings. There's like 12 endings, and they're all amazing. This story had you freaking jumping, it had you crying, it had you laughing. This is one of the greatest stories ever told in gaming. And Zombies started out pretty rough with Transit and Die Rise and Nuketown, but it came swinging with Mob of the Dead Buried and Origins directly after. Oh my, what a great lineup. Best multiplayer, best campaign, second best Zombies to Black Ops 3. This this game is it's everything you could ever ask for. This is my favorite game of all time, not just Call of Duty. And that's the list. Let me go. Let me know in the comments if you agree. Remember to like and subscribe. This is Black Folk. Remember that name on Cracker Factor. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys. Love you. Let's hope Modern Warfare 3 is amazing and never stop playing Call of Duty.